morning. Welcome to another episode of Dirt Cop Dual Sport. Today I'm coming from the top of this beautiful mountain. It's actually the spot I rode to for my very first moto vlog video for the Dirt Cop Dual Sport channel. But I thought there couldn't be a better place than on top of a mountain than to talk about how important it is to become the main character in your own story. And maybe you are content with, being in the background or going with the flow. That's all right, but at some point you're gonna have to grab your life by the horns and become the main character of your story, because no matter which way you look at it, you are the main protagonist. You are the hero of your own life. You know, like, something a main character does is they listen to their own wants and needs and boundaries. They don't put those requirements below requirements of others. Because you need to take care of yourself if you're going to take care of others. And if you're going to be the main character, you have to look at it that way. Because the main character always takes care of others. And you can't do that if you're not taking care of yourself. And as soon as people start coming over those boundaries you set up, the story starts getting out of your hands, and it's no longer going to be your story. Someone who stomps through your boundaries is going to suck you up into their story, and you're no longer going to be the protagonist, the main character. You're going to be a side character in whatever circus they have going on. As a main character, what you need to do is stop comparing yourself to others, because those people are the main characters in their own life. Like, what they're doing, they're in a different place. They're not you. When you're comparing them, you're putting yourself below them and putting them up on a pedestal. That's not main character energy. You're the main character. You do what you need to do at the time you need to do it. And that's how it is. And that's just a way of leading yourself into being unhappy too, because if you're comparing yourself to other people, you're always going to find someone who's happier, better looking, wealthier, more successful. You're not at the top of the heap. No one is. There's always going to be someone above you. Why compare? Just live your life in the best way you can, and don't be bothered with how others are doing, because they're in a different part of their life than you. They're living their own story. Something you need to take into consideration if you're looking to become the main character of your story is to stop trying to be normal, because there's no such thing as normal. This is just a concept created by society. No one's really going to live up to. You know, there might be societal norms that you're trying to strive to and you're trying to fit in, but a main character doesn't necessarily fit in. You know, main character is going to be liked and appreciated by those around him, and they're going to be respected for not what makes them normal, but for what makes them different. And I know this is kind of a hard thing to struggle with, because a lot of my listeners, I'm assuming, oh, that was a big rock there. You know, they might be neurodivergent or have a disability that makes them feel like they're outside of society's norms, and it's difficult to accept that sometimes. I myself considered disabled by the Veterans Association. I struggle with PTSD and anxiety, and it takes a toll on my life. And you know, a lot of times I do wish that my brain worked more like other people's, but that's going to lead me to the next part of what I wanted to say is you need to accept yourself for who you are, because maybe you're not what society thinks is normal. That's not a bad thing. You need to embrace your normal. When I started to making this channel, I wanted it to be like a normal moto vlog. I watched a ton of moto vlogs. I tried to be more like them, and you know, I enjoyed making these videos, but there was definitely something missing. I didn't have that certain oomph there. I was just another moto vlog lost in a sea of other moto vlogs just like mine. You know, I was a little different because I was in Idaho. I rode a small bike, but there wasn't a lot that made me stand out, which is why I'm like accepting who I am and who I want to be, because I want to be the main character of my story, and I'm not going to be that main character if I'm just trying to emulate other moto vlogs on YouTube. I'm hoping that the direction I'm taking now makes my channel stand out, and that I embrace the things I'm trying to do, the things that make you different, even if you feel like they make you not normal. Those are your strengths. Those are the things you need to embrace in order to become a main character, a person who stands out. Even if you want to be normal, when you start embracing who you are for all your flaws and weaknesses, that's when your story is going to really start to become yours. It's 8 in the morning and it's already toasty out today. A lot different than my last ride. You'd think on top of this mountain it'd be cool. So if you're people pleasing, I struggle with this. I can be a people pleaser. It's tough when you're, you know, trying to work through life, make everyone in your life happy. That's not main character energy. You don't need to do everything everybody wants just to make them happy. You're putting that above your own happiness. You know, and it's just a form of control to try to control people's perception of you. But it's not main character energy. If you want to be the main character of your own story, you need to step away from that. You need to stop with the people pleasing. And that's not to say you're not going to help people and you're not going to, you know, take care of those you care about, but you know, you don't have to make everyone happy all the time. That's just going to lead you in a direction you don't want to go. And it's going to lead you away from your own story to where you're focusing on pleasing someone else, and now all of a sudden your life's away from you. Your story is no longer yours. You once again have become a character in someone else's story. You also got to stop criticizing and judging others. That's not main character energy. You know, a lot of times when you're criticizing and judging other people, you're just turning that inwards. You're not seeing the flaws in them. You're seeing your own flaws, projecting them onto other people. I think it's better to look inward and start working on yourself and not focus on the flaws and your judgments of other people. Because the main character is not just going to judge themselves and other people into some sort of black hole. They're going to acknowledge it and they're going to work on it. Because a main character is going to learn what they need to learn, change what they need to change, and move on with the story and progress through to the next part. So right behind me is an old caved-in mine tunnel, which I think is perfect for this episode because these old prospectors that dug this out, like those guys were the main character of their stories, without a doubt. And we're still telling the stories about these guys. And something you need to think about is you need to have some kindness and compassion for yourself and not be so hard on yourself. And I know I'm guilty of this. I can be really hard on myself and get down on things, but you know, the main character, he has a story arc. And in this story arc, there's always going to be trials of hardship, whether that's internally or externally. And then to progress the story, they move past that. They learn and they adapt and they overcome in order to make it over the hardship in that part of the story and resolve everything. That's what a main character does. He doesn't just say, this is too hard, I quit. This is not my fault. I'm not going to deal with this. This is too much for me. You know, the main character is they're not going to be so hard on themselves that they cannot progress. They're going to look at the hardship, deal with it, and keep going. And even if you fail, that's just still part of your story. You're not always going to make it through the hardship in some way, you know, but you're going to survive. And you're going to learn from that hardship and make sure that it doesn't happen again. If you want to be the main character in your story, you need to stop trying to be perfect. Because the protagonist always has flaws. These flaws are accepted, and these flaws become strengths, or overcoming these flaws becomes a strength. Or overcoming your flaws propels your story. And it's impossible to be perfect. It's not a realistic goal to strive for. The best we can be is ourselves, and to be human. And humans are flawed in all their forms. And when we're talking about being perfect, we need to talk about how it's important that the main character is vulnerable, that you have your vulnerable moments. And I'm not saying that you need to be vulnerable all the time and vulnerable with everybody, but you should have someone who's important to you that you can be vulnerable with. And if you're constantly striving for perfection and wanting to be perfect, it's going to be impossible to make that connection through vulnerability. Hey, before I leave you guys, I just want to bring everything together because I'm hoping this isn't too disconnected as I stop and go. But I want you to know it's important to become the main character in your own story. You don't want to be sitting there on the side, because the things that you want, that you desire, the things that make you special, are going to get lost. You're going to get lost in someone else's story, and you're just going to become a side character in theirs. So just think about some things like, you don't need to be perfect. You need to embrace your flaws. You need to be vulnerable with people you can be vulnerable with. And you need to be happy with who you are. Because those flaws and quirks and things that maybe make you feel like you're not a normal kind of person, those are what make you you, what make you special. These are your powers, your strengths. So just remember that. Embrace those things. Use those things to overcome the obstacles in your story, and you will become the main character of your life, and you'll be so much happier. You'll feel so much more fulfilled, and you'll feel like you're guiding this story to the conclusion you want it to go. Well, everywhere I stop, I seem to be surrounded by flies. It's about 90 degrees out, and it's 9 in the morning, so I think I'm gonna head home, get some water, and then just hang out with my family. But thanks for watching. I hope you like and subscribe. If you feel like this stuff is helping you, please share it with those that you think might get some benefit from it. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you have a great day.